So much of what we do in life, or should I say, so much of what we don't do, is due to a subconscious or unconscious fear that we're carrying. Actually, most decisions that we make are driven by some sort of fear. So when we think we're making this decision to do something, we're also making a decision to not do the opposite because of some sort of fear. All decisions that we make and just life in general, everything is about balance, yin and yang. We live in a world of duality and polarity. So with one side, there's always a counterbalance. There's always, an opposing force. And same in science. You get like batteries where you get positive and negative that repel each other. Same on an atomic level, on a subatomic level, shall I say, in quantum physics, where you get, two protons repelling each other because the one is negatively charged, one is oppositely charged. So as with the science and the spiritual and the ethereal existence of positive and negative, so it also exists on a physical level as well, as above, so below, as in the ether, as in the quantum field that we can't see, we can't touch, but we all know it's there, so is in the material world, as above, so below. So when we make a decision, we really need to move towards faith. So we make it in the energy, we have the energy of faith when we make that decision, and we're making the decision because we're faithful in the outcome, as opposed to fearing the opposite of the decision that we're making. So those two elements are always there. And it's so important that when we make decisions, that we've centered ourselves in the fear energy. Sorry, totally said it the wrong way around. It's so important that we center ourselves in the faith energy, because it's not the decision itself that will manifest the result you want. It's the energy that you're in when you make the decision. So if you're sat in that energy of fear when you make a decision, you're going to get a not so great outcome. But you could make exactly the same decision sat in the opposite energy. The opposite of faith is fear. And you'll get a much, much better outcome, even though the decision and the action itself was exactly the same. So firstly, it's important to know what our fears are, because you can't really, let's say you can't mitigate against your fears and be conscious of the faith part of it, so you can step into the faith energy instead of the fear. But you can't do that unless you know what your fears are. Okay, so I'm going to be running a workshop on how to overcome your fears and how to discover firstly what your fears are, because we've all got so many of them, but life is so busy that we push them to the back of our minds and we just go, oh, deal with that later. And they end up getting so suppressed that they manifest in your energy field and give you like lethargy, you feel lower, you feel tired, you've got headaches, you get stressed more easily. That's actually just suppressed fear. And it's suppressed so much that it's kind of not accessible anymore to you consciously. It's just embedded so deeply into your energy field. It's not here. So if someone says to you, what are you afraid of? You might say, I'm not afraid of anything. What are you talking about? I don't have any fears. Well, they are. You do have some fears. Everybody does. But you've just lost access to them. So that's the case for some people. It's obviously not the case for everyone. Some people that are actually going through, a phase in their life, they might know what their fears are because they have to go through it every day. Unfortunately, I don't really like going into like topics and details like this because it just makes me feel energetically so sad and depressed. But, people get abused a lot, and there's all sorts of traumas that people have to go through. on a daily basis. And I think if you ask them what you're afraid of, they'd probably be able to answer you pretty quickly. So there's a scale there of very consciously aware, people know what their fears are consciously, to fears that have been buried so deeply that people have forgotten that they've got them. So in my workshop, we're going to be looking at that whole range of fears and addressing them, looking at what can we do to put you in the faith energy and start creating and manifesting from the faith energy, as opposed to making decisions and actions in that fear energy, because the energy, as I said before, that's what's going to create the outcome, not the action itself. Although that plays a role, I'm not discounting that, but the energy and the intention and the frequency you're vibrating at is going to be a more predominant player when it comes to outcomes. So if you want to learn more about the whole philosophy around fear and understanding what fear is on an energetic level, on an emotional level, on a psychological level, on an intellectual level, because fear runs through all of those different areas. It follows us around everywhere, like the dark shadow. If you want to know how to overcome that, how to address that, and also if you don't feel like you've got any fears in your life and you think, well, this workshop sounds interesting, but I don't really think it's going to benefit me, all I can say is it's always good as a preventative measure, because if you can understand it before you get to that point where something could happen, or you might be in a position where you start to feel that you do start suppressing emotions, at least if you've got the knowledge ahead of time, it's a good preventative so that you don't, go through that in the future. So if you want to learn more, click on the link. I will put my details in there about the workshops that you can attend, and also my contact details if you've got any more questions. Thank you.